After high school, I went to Oakwood University. That's where I went for undergrad. I majored in social work. Then I moved on to attend the University of New England, and that's where I got my master in social work. It was not hard for me to go to school at all. Higher education was always a goal of mine. I've always loved school. When I was younger, my grandfather joked that instead of playing outside, I would want to do math problems or read. So school's never really been a struggle for me. So during my master's program, I worked 2 jobs. My first job, I was a bereavement counselor, and the second job, I worked at a daycare. So my days looked like me waking up, I would go to my first job, get off, have 30 minutes to go to my second job, then I would get off, do my schoolwork, and go to bed. That was pretty much what my work week looked like. Towards the end of my master's program, I really wanted to give back into the community. There was something that was just really bothering me in my spirit that was making me want to do something. The only problem is that I didn't want to go and volunteer at a food pantry or hand out food once a week. I really wanted to do something my own way, so that's when I started the Blessing Bags. The Blessing Bags are basically just hygiene bags. They're filled with your essential hygiene items, so soap, washcloths, baby wipes, razors, toothbrushes, just those essential needs that you would use every single day. Now, when I started the Blessing Bags, it took me about a month to complete 5 bags. It took me so long because I was broke, but I really wanted to do it. So I made 5 bags and then I put them in my car, and that's when I started to give them out. I got the idea of the Blessing Bags when I was on Facebook one day. And I saw a lady, she was filling up old purses with just random items that she would give to the homeless. And at that moment, it was as if I was a cartoon character and a light bulb came upon my head. And I just knew that this was something that I could do. I remember making the bags for about a month, and I came by a corner that I drove by almost daily, and I handed a man the bag. As soon as I handed him the Blessing Bag, he told me how grateful he was for the bag and just how thankful he was that somebody was doing something. And at that moment, I realized how important it was for me to keep going. I realized how, no matter how simple that act, that you can truly bless somebody. I completed a back to school project for a group home in Huntsville. I'm all about school, I love school. And so I wanted to provide school supplies to these foster kids because I know how expensive school supplies can be, and I know how exciting it could be to get new paper and pencils. So I got on Facebook and I made a flyer and I posted about it, and I was honestly very surprised at how willing people were to donate. At the end of my project, I was able to get them hygiene items. I got school supplies and snacks for most of the year. After my back to school project was finished, I was pretty pumped about it. I loved how successful it was, and because I knew that people could trust me with all of their donations, I wanted to do something even bigger. I one day got a vision that I just wanted to help everybody. I'm a big dreamer, so I'm thinking worldwide. I just wanted to help everybody. After I got the idea, I was talking to a friend on the phone and I was telling him how I just wanted to help the whole world, and there was no excuse for why I couldn't do so. I wanted to get together a bunch of teams across the world, and we have so many people across the country from school and just being family, and I just felt like we could really put together something huge. After talking to my friend on the phone, a few days later, I got an idea. So I started to text 5 or 6 friends to see if they were on board. Once they said yes, I started planning for the rest of the week, and this is how Coast to Coast began. Within Coast to Coast, I have teams all over the country. I started off with 5 teams, and last year I had up to 15 teams. Within this project, all of my teams go out into their community, and then we go out on the same day of the same month, and we give out all of the Blessing Bags. It's important for me that we go out on the same day because it really shows that no matter where you are, no matter what time zone you're in, you can come together as a community to give back. This is when Simply Service unofficially began. After my Coast to Coast project, I kept making Blessing Bags. I didn't stop. I kept making them and putting them in my car and just giving them out as I saw people in need. After a few months of doing this, multiple people came to me to tell me how I needed to make it a nonprofit. Now, I played with the idea, I thought about it often, but I really didn't think it was something that I was going to do. After a certain amount of time went by, I just decided, why not? And so I officially made Simply Service a nonprofit organization. When I initially started Simply Service, I just wanted people to join our team. I wanted people to just volunteer with us specifically. I want people to care about homelessness and to be as passionate as I am. But the more I grew within the organization, the more I read for myself and educated myself, I realized that people are really not going to give back to a cause to care about homelessness or be as passionate as I am if they don't educate themselves. We as an organization are striving to just spark that fire and be the lights in our community around the world. Whether it's simply by sharing information, by showing how easy service is, or by you volunteering in one of our projects, we just want to be that light in our communities. Poverty is important to talk about because it's everywhere. Those typical stigmas that people place on poverty, being dirty, not being well groomed, not speaking properly, those are not things that you would have been able to see within my family. We were always very well groomed, well presented, and we were struggling. And so it's important for people to know that there are many different aspects of poverty. Working harder is not the solution to poverty. My mom worked harder than anyone I had ever known, and she's still struggling to this day. She worked multiple jobs at once, and we still couldn't keep the lights on in the house, and we still couldn't keep food on the table. Working harder also can be detrimental to someone living in poverty. Within the system, if you have a job and if you're receiving welfare benefits and SSI, once you get that job, those benefits are taken from you. So working harder is not the answer. Our system, fixing our government, that's the answer to fixing poverty. I once watched a documentary of this millionaire who took in a homeless couple. Now, he thought that he was doing a great thing, which he did, but there became issues within the household because of certain things that he didn't understand. There was a conversation one day that the millionaire had with the couple where he expressed his frustrations of them not working, and he didn't feel like they were trying hard to put themselves in a better situation. But what the couple had to explain to them is if they started working, if they got a job, not only would they lose their benefits, but they would be making less than what they made when they did not work. The system is meant to keep the poor dependent upon the government, and working harder and doing what you're supposed to do, that's not going to get you out of poverty. That can actually put you further in poverty than what you were before. The average everyday person can fight poverty by advocating for the poor. When you're homeless and you're struggling, you're not seen or heard. And so that's why it's important to elevate those voices, educate yourselves, share their stories. If I could give one simple message to people across the world, it would be that it's just so easy to give back. Just start. People really need it, and that's really it. It's truly as simple as I'm saying. Giving back doesn't have to be this long, hard process where you do extravagant things. If we truly accept it for as simple as it is, I believe more people would do it.